Hi, Jane. Welcome to the office today. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to say thank you for coming. And before we get started, I just wanted to go over a couple things that we typically do during sessions, letting you know that I'm a mandated reporter. So everything that we say is confidential unless there's any threat for you to harm yourself or anybody else. Do you have any questions about that?
No, that makes sense.
Okay, and then the paperwork that you did receive, there are phone numbers on there, so at any time, if you ever had those thoughts, or you needed to touch base with somebody, we do have a 24-hour on-call.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So today I just wanted to go over kind of an assessment that we typically do when we first initiate services. We're just going to go over basic information, and if at any time I bring up something, it makes you feel uncomfortable, you don't feel like talking about it, you can just let me know and we can move right on.
Yeah.
Okay? So first off, I just wanted to kind of get a feel for how you're doing and what brought you here today.
So lately I have just been really sad. Um, I lost both of my parents within 6 months of each other, and it's really kind of like all I knew. I took care of them for many years. I did college, but like my main life kind of revolved around taking care of them. So now I'm just kind of feeling like lost, sad, a little like hopeless, with what to do now that they're gone. I
Okay.
don't
All
really
right.
have much. They were kind of my everything.
Okay. Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. Do you have any other siblings?
I don't have any siblings.
No siblings? Okay. That sounds like a lot of grief, and that is something, after we get through like the assessment phase and start discussing a plan moving forward, we can definitely touch base on some of those feelings that you're going through right now.
Yeah.
All right. And how old are you, Jane?
I'm 26 years old.
26. Mhm. And how do you identify?
I identify as a female.
Female? Okay. And just so you know, if I look down, I'm just kind of taking notes. I know you're giving me some valuable information. I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so 26-year-old female, and your ethnicity?
White Caucasian.
Okay. All right. And do you currently live with anybody?
I don't. I live alone currently.
Yep. Do you have any pets or animals?
I do have a cat. She's kind of
Okay.
like my support now.
Okay. And it's a female?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's her name?
Barsha.
Marsha?
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Um, and can you talk about how things were like growing up with your parents before they had passed, things that you like to do, maybe that you guys did together?
Yeah, so I have always been really close to my family. I've always kind of been closer to them than like, people my own age. We got along really well. We went out to like breakfast a lot or lunches. Um, and I spent a lot of my time home with them. Even when I was at school, I really would only hang out with my friends while I was at school. And then outside of that, I just came home. And as I started to grow up, even through college, I was their main support when they started getting sick. Um, so then I took care of them.
Okay. And did you have any relatives, friends, anybody else that you associated with?
Um, I talked to like my friends from school, mainly in school. It was not really like we hung out outside of school, and Um, I associated with like some of my more distant family, but it again was really only if like my parents were around.
Um, And you said your relationship prior to them passing was pretty positive. It sounds like you were very close. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
And did any of that affect you when you were in school? Were you going through both of your parents' illness while being in school?
Yeah, it was hard on me to find like a balance of like school and caretaking for them. You know, I got used to it as time went on. Um but the end was definitely really hard, and just like the stress of school. I've kind of struggled to find work in my field because it's library science. So all of it together, I'm just like confused now, and like trying to find myself, because I've really only found myself with them. So I'm trying to identify like who I am without them.
Okay. And you said that your education is in library science. Is that your current job now in that field?
No, so my current job now, I'm working at Family Dollar. I looked for many jobs that were in that, and I just kept striking out.
Okay. And is further exploration in regards to library science something that you might be interested in?
Yeah, I would love to be able to use my degree and do that. I mean, I'm being able to like pay my bills because I'm an assistant manager at Family Dollar. Um, but I would definitely like to use my degree.
Okay. And is there any cultural or let me see how to is there anything as far as like cultural or ethnic background that you participate in, or is there any religions that you or your family follow?
So growing up, they were Christian. It was never really forced. You know, sometimes we'd go and do things like go to church, um, and you know, pray, but it's never been anything that I have like went out of my way to pursue. But it's kind of always been there in like the background.
Okay, so something maybe in the future that you might take part in or be interested in?
Yeah, I absolutely think I would be interested in like, you know, getting deeper into it again, and maybe that would kind of help me find like a sense of identity too.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of churches around have different support groups. They do Bible studies, so it could be a great opportunity just to maybe be able to connect with somebody and, be able to have someone else to talk to or go out to lunch or, different things that you might have interest in.
Yeah, I think just like a social aspect of anything would be helpful because right now I'm just kind of like isolating myself because I don't really know where to start. So I think that could be really helpful for me.
Okay. You're saying you are isolating yourself. How is your sleep?
I have had really poor sleep. Um, that's definitely gotten worse since my parents have passed. I wake up many times um, in the middle of the night, and it's just about like every night that I'm experiencing this.
Okay. Okay. And how many hours a night would you say you do sleep if you could guess?
Um, I would say 5 hours of like unrestful though, like with the like waking up. So I'm not sure if it would be like straight 5 hours. Because sometimes I can like get myself to go back to bed, or the other times I just like kind of wake up and like my mind will start to like think of all these things.
Okay. And have you noticed at any time, like any changes in your appetite or your weight, or if you're eating too much or eating too little?
Um, I would say I'm eating okay. There's definitely my days where I'm feeling a little more like down, where I don't think about eating as much or as regularly as when I'm feeling a little better. Um, but I would say it's okay. I'm not too concerned right now.
All right, and you're working full-time or part-time?
I'm full time.
Okay, and would you, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I was just saying I'm full time there for the assistant manager.
Okay, and would you say that you've like your feelings, you were saying earlier you feel like hopeless. Do you feel like that's affected your work or any like activities or things that you do?
Um, Outside of work, I haven't been doing much, which I do think it's affecting. Like it's kind of hard to go out, but um, in work, no, because I like know I have to be there, and I have to show up for the team, so that gives me a sense of um, responsibility and like having to show up.
Okay, okay. Um, and those feelings, is this like every day, some days, most days where you're kind of feeling hopeless and sad and down?
I would say it's some days. I wouldn't say it's every day, because it's kind of like come and like gone.
And has anybody mentioned anything or said anything as far as if they noticed how you're feeling?
No, no one said anything directly to me about like noticing that I've been down or different at all.
Okay. And when you're only getting like 5 hours of sleep, are you kind of feeling down throughout the day? Like, do you get bursts of energy?
Sometimes it does make me feel a little down, um, but it's been going on for a little bit, so I've kind of learned how to like push through and manage with it.
And have you had any trouble like concentrating, trying to focus, maybe feeling like you don't remember things that you did once, or have your any decisions like affected you or your work?
I would say it's not every day, but I do experience like a brain fog sometimes. Um, and I'm not sure if that is like on those days where I don't get as much sleep. But I do notice sometimes it's a little hard for me to concentrate and I'll like zone in and out or I'll be a little forgetful.
And when you've kind of felt down and out, have you ever had like thoughts of like harming yourself or anybody else?
No, I've never had thoughts like that. I've always really enjoyed my life. This it's been a really big change for me. But I also know that my parents wouldn't want me to feel like that either. And I think that that helps me.
Okay, okay. And I'm just wondering if you can kind of provide me a little timeline as far as like the time, like you mentioned earlier that your parents had passed away 6 months from each other. Was that like recently, within like the past couple weeks, the past couple months? Can you kind of elaborate a little bit more on the timeline and when they were both sick?
Yeah, so they my mom was the last one to pass, and that was about a year ago. Um, she had passed away from ALS, um, and my dad passed 6 months before that. He had COPD. He was always like a big smoker. Um,
Okay. Um, and so the feelings, have you been kind of having these feelings for the past year? Or did they kind of get worse recently?
um, yeah, I've definitely had them for the past year. Um, Days are definitely harder than others. But I would say that the feelings are always there, of kind of feeling like helpless, or hopeless, but they're not always that intense. I just think that I need to kind of find out like who I am without them, and I think um, that might help um, with just feeling down.
Yeah, absolutely. And, coming to therapy and once we begin treatment planning and stuff, those we can definitely begin to explore those. Um, can I ask you is there anything that drew you to library science? Was anybody in your family into that field, or it was just something of your interest?
Yeah, I would say it was definitely like my parents that had an influence on that. Um, and I think that makes me a little more passionate about it now. And kind of a reason that I would, my job is stable and it's been good to me, but I think it's another reason why I would want to find a job with my degree is kind of to like honor that.
Sure. That's great to hear. And I'm sure they would be looking down, smiling.
Yeah.
Now, if you weren't having these feelings, and if you can think back to a time where maybe things weren't quite as stressful, what do you think that looks like for you? Or what would you hope to be doing, or a vision that you have?
Um, for a time that wasn't so stressful.
Yeah, or like once we start therapy and hopefully feelings start, you become feeling happier, more positive things, like what do you think that could look like, or what are some things that you would like to maybe get out and do?
Yeah, I would definitely like to have a routine. I'm a person who really craves like a stable routine. Um, and that's something I had with my parents was like school and then, caretaking for them. So just, kind of like you mentioned, maybe like a club or something, getting up, going to work, then, doing something a little more socially with like a club, putting myself out there. Um, just because I really don't have many friends right now. Um, I don't have siblings, and my family, like my relatives that are left, we're not really that close. So just finding a sense of like myself through having some friends and some social things to do. Um, and I would also definitely like to work on my sleep habits, getting a little more like 8 hours of sleep. I'm just not sure how to like achieve that.
Okay, great. I mean, those are definitely all strengths and great goals that we could look to implement in the future. Okay, so as we wrap things up, is there anything maybe that I didn't mention or bring up that you would like to discuss before we end?
Um, no, I think that covered a lot of like what I've been going through and kind of like, what made me really feel like I needed to get a little extra help.
Okay. All right, and just one last thing that I wanted to let you know, that the office, we do have a support group. It's a grieving support group and it is offered weekly. So that will start this Thursday. I'll send you a link and information. You could attend in person or virtual. And there's also a phone option. So if any of those work for you and you're interested, we would be happy to see you. And I will follow up and have somebody from the office give you a call to schedule a follow-up visit.
That would be so awesome. I would really appreciate that.
Okay, well, thank you, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.